Good afternoon. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's share the show. We are having an emergency show. Let's share the show, guys. Please share the show. Let's share the show. I'm very sorry. I have to put myself on mute. Uh, no, that's fine. I want to take care of something, but I think I should be good for now. But let's share the show, guys. Interesting, interesting, and interesting. Welcome to today's edition, SKTV. Share the show. Let's welcome someone. Let's invite someone to today's edition. Let's share the show, please. Lots of interesting things to talk about. By the way, tonight I will be on with Yasendi as well. But let's have a quick conversation here. Sekou should be joining us here momentarily. We want to talk about what's going on. We want to talk about CDC's chances of winning the elections come 2023. Let's look at their chances. We want to explore all of these different avenues and opportunities as we head on to the 2023 election. Share the show. Even the possibility of the election being held would still have to consider all of those factors. Share the show, please, guys. Share the show. Share the show. And share the show. Let me see here. My man, what's up? What's up? I'm not sure what's going on with. I hope I'm connected because I can see it popping up. I don't know if my internet's acting up. Let's share the show, guys. I am very sorry here. I got to work on something here really quick. But let's share the show while you're coming on. Share the show, please. I'm up and beat this afternoon. Let me play this quick. Let me play this quick song here, just for a second. I am not seeing this thing. I don't know what's going on. Give me a second. For some reason, I'm not seeing the show. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's
Find friend like me. Find friend like me. If you not want betrayal, find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. If you not want betrayal, find a friend like me.
Bombe oh, find a friend like me. Bombe jene oh, find a friend like me. Bombe, find a friend like me. Bombe jene oh, find a friend like me.
Hey, see bestie, your bestie not sweet like my bestie. Your bestie la bestie, find a friend like me.
I say, see bestie wanting to wealthy. Find a friend like me. I hear them say they want me go. I say
Some of them say they want me go.
me go, I say
Some French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. Some French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. Some French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. Hey, si bestie, the bestie na sweet like my bestie. The bestie la bestie, so I friend.
I say, see bestie wanting to heavy, find a friend, let me. Okoro, 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 okoro. They won't step on my blessing, but God get it breaking, yeah. Okoro, they won't call it my blessing, but God get it breaking, yeah. Okoro,
French, see French, can't see Papa T French, and I want no back for French. Wangolo, 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 wango for bestie, wango for daddy, wangolo.
I hear them say, they want me go, I say, I hear them say, they want me go, I say,
Some French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. Some French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. Some French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. Hey, si bestie, the bestie na friend by my bestie. The bestie la bestie, so I friend.
I say, see bestie wanting to heavy, money, my lonely, find a friend, let me.
DJ Young T.
You got money left, Johnny. You funny. Beats.
Okay, I was trying something up until now. I can still get the signal that I need. Mr. Kane, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Yeah, I think I'm just seeing it now. I couldn't even get a signal that I needed. This is crazy. Mr. Kane, I think we might have to go to the musical break just to give us the opportunity to share the show because I had some technical problems. And I haven't even shared the show. I've not done anything. So I beg you, please, do you mind if I take a second to share the show in because I definitely need to share the show. I have not done that.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are joining us, this is an emergency show. As you can see here, you can see the title. Where is the CDC's chances of being reelected? We are working on it. Because everything that you see going on today is about the election. But we'll talk about it.
I thought today was supposed to be the analyzing Eugene Fagon's stuff.
Yes, and that's what we're going to focus on. Because this is tied to the CDC. Remember, Eugene Fagon is associated with the CDC. Other players that are also there are associated with the CDC. So we will. That is the main focus for today. And we'll also talk about the Prince Johnson's most recent interview with UA. We'll play that really quick here when we get back after sharing the show. So, guys, share the show.
I think sometimes too, if you just want to, instead of playing music, and play some of those, the videos.
Yes,
so they can take that time, while you're sharing the show, so we can listen to them.
I think that is a brilliant idea. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can do that as opposed to nonsense. Yes,
you can do that. Then while we share the show, people can keep coming on.
Yes, that is a brilliant idea, as opposed to the Prince Johnson's show. Playing music. Let's get the Prince Johnson stuff on here. Give me 1 second. Oh Lord. 1 second, Mr. Khan. I'm trying to pull it up here, but
That's okay. Take your time. We are here.
well, but in the meantime, we don't. It's been a while since we did an emergency show. What do you think? What's on your mind for today?
It's important. It's important that we come on, and there are a lot of people that depend on us when it comes to providing credible and accurate information. So we have a lot of talk show out there, but we have so many people that really rely on SKTV for a credible and reliable information. So once we have some things going on, we have to make sure we keep our people updated. So that is very, very important. And for some reason, I'm not sure if it's my end here. I'm not seeing the comments like that. Are you seeing comments?
I'm seeing 2 comments. I said my stuff been slow. I don't know.
Yeah, they're telling me a lot of people on, but I'm not seeing comments. Okay, but it's okay. Maybe sometime with the internet delay too, it can happen.
Yes, I couldn't get certain things set to work. But let me get the Prince Johnson's tip up here rolling. And we will get into that. We'll get into that really quick. Okay, good. I have it up now, but let me share it really quick with the public. Okay, let's share this really, really quick. And let me go from there to
a new reason why. As the kingmaker in presidential elections, has given a new reason why he will not support the re-election of President George Weah. Longtime Senator Prince Johnson says in the 6 years since he was elected, Weah has failed to bring investors to Liberia, thereby worsening the country's unemployment rate. Supporters say the president has focused on the country's development through his government's pro-poor agenda for prosperity and development. The new development comes after Johnson says a high-power delegation from the ruling CDC urged his party not to field a presidential candidate because it would hurt President Weah's re-election chances. Johnson tells me the delegation included several top ministers, including those from the Ministries of Finance, Labor, a former Minister of State, and the chair of the ruling CDC.
We have a candidate, standard bearer, to run directly. And they are saying, no, we should not run. We should support Mr. Weah. If we do, it's in the front to Mr. Weah and all kinds of talks. And we say we are a party registered under the law of this country. And our support from 2017, October, it ended October 2022. So there is no more document binding. And during this 6-year period this year, we have observed that what we expected in the past is not what we see on the ground. We believe, as well as the Liberian people believe, that being the world best, European best, African best, all the best, that his election would have attracted investors to Liberia to create jobs and alleviate the suffering of our people through the investment and employment. But since his election, the world has abandoned us in the sense that no investors are coming, and what we're doing in the country is just ratifying loan agreements all the time, and we cannot build a country based on loan and internal revenue in the private sector. So things are very difficult in the country. The unemployment rate is escalating. So there's nothing encouraging to give Mr. Weah second term. That's why we decided to quit.
Senator, help me. You said a delegation from the ruling CDC came to see you. Who are the members on that delegation?
Well, the Minister of Finance, the former Minister of State Presidential Affairs, the chairperson of the CDC, Mr. Eba Molu, Professor Wilson Tata, EPA Director General, the Minister of Labor, Minister Charles Gibson, and many others.
Senator, how do you say there's no development? As recent as, I think, earlier this month, the president dedicated a hospital. I see pictures of roads being paved.
Jimmy, that's a different thing. I'm not saying there is no development. There are some level of development. I am saying the high rate of unemployment is a major concern. When investors are not on the ground to provide jobs, and we are living the sufferings. We're talking about jobs for our people. The jobs, we put food on the table. The jobs, we have our people, those university graduates every year. When they graduate, no job, their degrees are hanging on the walls, and they continue to increase the number of unemployment.
Let me ask you, Senator, in the past, you have supported President Weah. And this is the reason why I think people accused you of selling your NIBA vote for money. Some people are saying you are making all this noise because now you want the government to give you more money.
That's what I hear people say, but they are on the wrong side of history. That is not my nature. I don't know of any market where they sell votes. They say these things, but it's not true. If I form an alliance with you, I collaborate with you, and I find incompatibility, coupled with that, the agreement expires, I can no longer renew that agreement.
But why not support one of the parties? I mean, how certain are you that your candidate might win?
We are open to all parties. We are working with ANC. We are working with the Unity Party. We are working with the newly certificated party, EFCC. All of the parties on the ground, we are working with them. So one party cannot win with all the other in the country. So you need all hands on deck.
Senator Johnson, it is always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much. Happy New Year again to you.
Happy New Year. God bless you, Jimmy.
That was Senator Prince Johnson of Liberia speaking with us from the capital, Monrovia.
Folks, we wanted to use this time for the Prince Johnson's interview. That was the most recent interview with BBC. I believe it was yesterday or the day before this interview was aired. For some reasons, I'm not getting any signal here that I should be getting normally. I don't know what's going on. We will work on it in the back there to get it fixed. Some of you probably, Siku, I don't know what you think. What you think? You think, because this interview is 4 minutes long. Do you think we should replay it? You're muted.
But did you play for 4 minutes now?
So that's why I'm going to go back and replay it.
I don't think it was 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's 4 minutes and change long. It was on VOA. Hold on 1 second. Let me go back and replay it. There it is. Give me a second, guys.
As the kingmaker in presidential elections, has given a new reason why he will not support the re-election of President George Weah. Longtime Senator Prince Johnson says in the 6 years since he was elected, Weah has failed to bring investors to Liberia, thereby worsening the country's unemployment rate. Supporters say the president has focused on the country's development through his government's pro-poor agenda for prosperity and development. The new development comes after Johnson says a high-power delegation from the ruling CDC urged his party not to field a presidential candidate because it would hurt President Weah's re-election chances. Johnson tells me the delegation included several top ministers, including those from the Ministries of Finance, Labor, a former Minister of State, and the chair of the ruling CDC.
We have a candidate, standard bearer, to run directly. And they are saying, no, we should not run. We should support Mr. Weah. If we do, it's in the front to Mr. Weah and all kinds of talks. And we say we are a party registered under the law of this country. And our support from 2017, October, it ended October 2022. So there is no more document binding. And during this 6-year period this year, we have observed that what we expected in the past is not what we see on the ground. We believe, as one of the Liberian people believe, that being the world best, European best, African best, all the best, that his election would have attracted investors to Liberia to create jobs and alleviate the suffering of our people through their investment and employment. But since it's election, the world has abandoned us in the sense that no investors are coming. And what we're doing in the country is just ratifying loan agreements all the time. And you cannot build a country based on loan and internal revenue in the private sector. So things are very difficult in the country. The unemployment rate is escalating. So there's nothing encouraging to give Mr. Weir second time. That's why we decided to quit.
Senator, help me. You said a delegation from the ruling CDC came to see you. Who are the members on that delegation?
Well, the Minister of Finance, the former Minister of State Presidential Affairs, the chairperson of the CDC, Mr. Eba Malu, Professor Wilson Tate, EPA Director General, the Minister of Labor, Minister Charles Gibson, and many others.
Senator, how do you say there's no development? As recent as, I think, earlier this month, the president dedicated a hospital. I see pictures of roads being paved.
Jimmy, that's a different thing. I'm not saying there is no development. There are some level of development. I am saying the high rate of unemployment is a major concern. When investors are not on the ground to provide jobs, and we are living the sufferings. We're talking about jobs for our people. The jobs, we put food on the table. The jobs, we have our people, those university graduates every year. When they graduate, no job, their degrees are hanging on the walls, and they continue to increase the number of unemployment.
Let me ask you, Senator, in the past, you have supported President Weir. And this is the reason why I think people accused you of selling your NIBA vote for money. Some people are saying you are making all this noise because now you want the government to give you more money.
That's what I hear people say, but they are on the wrong side of history. That is not my nature. I don't know of any market where they sell votes. They say these things, but it's not true. If I form an alliance with you, I collaborate with you, and I find incompatibility, coupled with that, the agreement expires, I can no longer renew that agreement.
But why not support one of the parties? I mean, how certain are you that your candidate might win?
We are open to all parties. We are working with ANC. We are working with the Unity Party. We are working with the newly certificated party, EFCC. All of the parties on the ground, we are working with them. So one party cannot win with all the other in the country. So you mean all hands on deck.
Senator Johnson, it is always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much. Happy New Year again to you.
Happy New Year. God bless you, Jimmy.
Oh, well, that's Prince Johnson. His most recent view is interesting, Mr. Kane. What do you say? What is your take before we start this conversation? Let's kick start it with Prince Johnson. What do you say?
Well, first of all, I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to our many, many viewers and followers and well-wishers. I want to say thank you again for tuning in to SKTV. We normally don't do show on Tuesday, but as stated by my colleague here, whenever we deem it necessary, we come on to enlighten you and to keep the ball rolling as it relates to political activities going on in our country. So with regards to Prince Johnson's statement, I don't give credence to Prince Johnson, owing to the fact that he's very inconsistent. And it has always been about money, and himself. Not about the country, not about the country and the people. So for every time I listen to him, I can remind myself of the past. He just said there's no money, there's no market to sell votes. He only collaborates with people and work with them. Granted, he's been collaborating with people, but there's a way of doing it every election year, when he's not running for Senate, he will go and run for the presidency, thereby getting some votes. And knowing the fact that he's not going to win the presidency. And then what he has done in the past, whenever the first run is over, he put up his vote for the highest bidder. He put his vote up there to see who's going to give him the most money. Before the election of George Weah, he said George Weah was not supposed to be a president, that the man was best of everything, but he did nothing for Liberia. That George Weah was a drunk, that George Weah was not a presidential material, that if George Weah is elected, there will be war in Liberia. So Prince Johnson, and recently, he and the people, the discussion they had, first, it was not about development. It was about two things. It was about money. But what he did, he told the people that you told us that you're going to appoint the Mayans in key positions, but you did not do so. But just ask yourself, recently, when Prince Johnson talked about the election, when people were discussing the sanction, when people were discussing the war crime court, he said they're just doing it just to keep him away from supporting George Weah. And let people rest assured he's going to support George Weah. But because he did not get the money, and that time that was Weah was already three years in the presidency, almost 4 years. So because he didn't get the money, or because he wants money now in this election time, he wants some money for himself to run the campaign, and he's trying to use the Liberian people, the people of Nima County, as always, to carry on, his political activities. Nothing less, nothing more. It's all about money. It's all about himself. And I don't believe anything Prince Johnson says. He can say all this right now. If Weah comes up with the money that he wants, he will switch again. He will put his hand. I will say, Nimba people, your son. Our son, your people. So Prince Johnson is not somebody to trust. I think we're having some trouble with the system today.
Well, Mr. Kane, yes, I think we are. I'm not sure what's going on, but I hear your take. And yes, I agree with you that, some of your assertions that Prince Johnson, goes to the highest bidder. This has been his game, his MO. That's how he operates, or whatever. Now, in a year of elections, he will put up the kind of tension, the kind of noise, or whatever it is. But there are two things that I'm concerned about.
Okay.
The first one is I'm very concerned about the names of people he mentioned that the government sent to speak on their behalf, specifically Nathaniel McGill. Why is the government doing business with Nathaniel McGill, sending him as an envoy or an emissary or someone to speak on their behalf to Prince Johnson? Is that being in defiance of the sanction? I'm also saying this to say, I was reading the papers these few days. I was watching the news from the United States. There is a Russian billionaire called Derek. His last name, I'm just forgetting how to pronounce. Derek was sanctioned by the United States. Derek used one of the FBI agents, pay him. The guy just got arrested in New York. Pay him to evade and do all kind of funny things with the sanction. It's Nathaniel McGill. And Prince Johnson admitted, hey, this is on recording. the VOA. Is Prince Johnson putting the CDC-led government, President George Weah, at large? Not only the government, but the party at risk because they are doing business with Nathaniel McGill? This is interesting. I'd like to hear your views on it. What do you think?
You know, that is very interesting. Nathaniel McGill was only relieved from his position, but McGill did not leave the CDC. McGill still formed an integral part of the CDC, and McGill still worked for the CDC. He may not be directly working for the government at this point, but McGill still carries government security that are paid by the government. McGill stay almost the only thing McGill was taking off is his position as Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. But every other immunity, access, opportunities, McGill still enjoys those things. So even for the fact that McGill is running for the Senate, is he running as independent or is he running as a CDC? So McGill still forms part of CDC. So not anything that I hear regarding McGill and the CDC does not surprise me. So yes, then not only Liberian people are watching, but the United States is also watching. You have the people out there.
Okay.
They also listen to other Liberians that give them information. So yes, indeed, McGill is working for the Liberian government. He's working for the CDC, but he's not just holding the position he held for the past 4 years.
So I know there are other areas we want to cover today, and this is an emergency show, guys. If you're just joining us, please share the show. If you are just joining us, we're having an emergency show today because of some of the prevailing issues that are going on in the country and out of the country. We wanted to ensure that we add our voices to the ongoing conversation, considering it's critically important for us to have credible, reliable voices and trustworthy voices added onto the national discussion as opposed to just leaving it lingering so that, because we've had a lot of requests and a lot of people reached out to us about what are you guys saying, what are you guys doing, what's going on, and all of that. So it's important for us to ensure that we're part and parcel of this conversation. Mr. Kane, now that we talked about, yes, oligarch Deripaski, you were right. Frank Weah, thank you so much, Frank Weah, for pointing that out. So oligarch Deripaski is one of the guys who evaded the sanction. The UX sanction, he tried to trick them. And so he got someone else in trouble these few days, But that is one of my observations in this recording or this interview from Prince Johnson. Here's another observation I made, and I'd like your take on it. The fact that Prince Johnson would openly taunt the CDC, drill them, play them around, to the point that even Akara's Gray we played last week, even Akara's Gray making statements such as they will go after Prince Johnson intellectually. Jefferson Koji, these guys went behind Prince Johnson to organize stuff. Prince Johnson had made it to it. The fact that this conversation is coming to the public openly like this, with calling on the names of people in order went to see Prince Johnson after a couple of meetings failed. They've had more than 3 meetings now. What do you say? Is this the end of the relationship between Prince Johnson and the CDC, regardless of them giving you the money? Because Mr. Khan, I want to keep in context that there's a big damage being done here. What Prince Johnson is doing, And that's something that you can come a later on and say, oh, we're just joking or our legal talk. What do you say?
You know, back in 2016 and 2017, Prince Johnson said the worst. And the worst was said to Prince Johnson by the CDC. It means nothing. The relationship will remain sour until we can get money to give to Prince Johnson. I can tell you this. As long as Prince Johnson get money, everything will be fine. He can cause a marriage, cause a father, you do everything you want to do to him. You remember when Prince Johnson captured the late President Samuel Kendo? He didn't ask him about anything else before he killed him. He asked him about money. Where did you put Abraham money?
Yes.
If you don't tell me where you put the Abraham money, I will cut your ear. Your both ears. Prince Johnson being like that, he's been about money and being about himself, nothing else. All the people that he said he's talking to, ANC, UPO, this to that to, it's all about money. Whoever can give him the highest money, who can also guarantee him. Because he's not on the ballot this time as president. You saw him said, we said we wanted to run directly this time. That means you want to run as president, you want the party to run as president. How did you been running before? You've been running as president in the presidential elections. But when you told you to run it directly, you wanted to run directly this time, it means that he doesn't want to go in cahoots with anybody this time around because they don't want to give him money. That's why he want to put Kennedy out. So when they have accumulated some votes in the first round, then they put it out there for the highest bidder. That's all. You can't trust Prince Johnson, trust me. Anything. Listen, Akala Gray, Jefferson Koji, all those people, there are people then that we are accustomed to hearing them talking nonsense. And whatever they say, it means nothing. How many times Calagro told you and myself and the world that if Darrell Dillon wins the election, he will resign? Did he? Moluba Molu, the same thing. How many times you saw these guys going and put information out there that they're going to win the election? How many times have you seen Akala Gray and the rest of the sedition, Thomas Faladen lying, fabricating story against Kavina Jane when they knew that, when they wanted to settle score with him? They lie about everything. As a matter of fact, some of the reasons why Kavina Jane was impeached for was not the reason they was convicted for. And those lies were fabricated and perpetuated by Akala Gray and Thomas Fala. So those guys, they are accustomed to lying. And they can go at anybody. Akala Gray said something, if you listen to it, he said, their fight is because of their livelihood.
Yes.
It's not about anybody, not about Liberia, not about Liberian people. He said their livelihood depends on George Weah's presidency. And he's right. It has always been that people know about it, but people don't pay attention. They're not doing it for Liberian, but he said their livelihood depends on the presidency of George Weah. So when you see anybody threatening the re-election of George Weah, they see that as a threat to their livelihood. He said that, right?
Yeah.
So those are clear understanding of what they are all about. So both Prince Johnson and those guys, Don't take them serious. The thing, Joey are still waiting for money to come from Turkey, like I told you the last time. They're still waiting for the campaign money. And when the campaign money comes, trust me, if they will share it, and perhaps Prince Justin might receive his. But if he doesn't, then that will be the final straw that will break the camel back.
So you're trying to say
But
Prince Johnson
it's
behave himself?
all incumbent upon money.
So you're trying to say Prince Johnson behave himself, he will get him caught. If he behave, he will not get caught.
No. Prince Justin, no matter how, it doesn't matter what Prince Justin does, he still get a caught if they get the money. Prince Justin will not get money if the weird does not receive the money that they're expecting, including the ones coming from Turkey. You know, we intercepted some communication that from other political parties too that are seeking money from. I don't know what I should call it. I'll just leave it. Okay, I'll just leave it for now because
Yeah, let me do that.
yeah. So that's what it is. They're all going around looking for money for the campaign.
When the time comes for to bring the other people to the line, we'll bring it to the line. For now, let it be. But Mr. Kane, I think the issue of Prince Johnson is, like you said, but we're watching as it unfolds. It's very dramatic. It's, in my view, I'm not sure how Prince Johnson would walk back these things that he's said. But again, he's done it before, so I'm not shocked.
But he doesn't walk anything back. He can just like never happened.
Right.
Prince Johnson with Allah, it didn't happen.
He made fun of.
Let's say Prince Johnson will say anything right now about George Weah, and the end of the day, we will go and put him up, and then like he did not say anything. He doesn't care.
Yeah, I remember he made
fun
of.
People they don't ask questions. Let me tell you something, Steve. Liberia is one of the most confused country I ever seen, and only one of the most dishonest people that I've ever seen. They can say everything about Prince Johnson right now, but by the time Prince Johnson start to support him or to support them or support their candidate, they will start to defend him. So it happened when Unity Party was in power, or maybe before they come into power, they were against Prince Johnson. CDC too they were all against Prince Johnson. But when it came to the election and the vote for Nima County, they were all asking to get Prince Johnson's vote. When it went to Unity Party, CDC became furious. They made Prince Johnson their enemy. They start talking about war crimes court and everything. For the time Ellen Johnson was there. For the 2 times Prince Johnson gave his vote to Ellen. And when he switched his vote from the Unity Party when Bouaka ran to the CDC, Unity Party people too start talking about war crime court. Started calling him names. CDC that were bashing him, telling him all kinds of nonsense. They started to protect him as one of theirs. So it's very, 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 discouraging when you really think about the way our people behave. So Prince Johnson cannot be trusted. And those guys who are insulting him, they're just trying to play, they all play game. How they can keep the ball, back and forth until they can get what they want and make their final decision. But Prince Johnson cannot be trusted until we are failed to provide him the money.
Okay. But just before we get into the major conversation, because we will spend the rest of the the hour here before we hit the hour mark on that conversation, which is the most recent revelation of Eugene Fagon, along with Costa infusing himself into it, and so forth, which we'll talk about. But something caught my attention that I wanted to bring to your attention. It has to do with the newspaper Front Page Africa. Front Page Africa, one of its stories today on their cover page, I found very interesting, but also I found very concerning, is the issue of voting. In it's a kind of it's disturbing. The headline is disturbing. That millions wouldn't be able to partake in the voting process. Most recently, I came across a video also wherein enumerators were still asking for their monies, and there were still problems. Since we're talking about the CDC-led government and this entire issue surrounds the 2023 election, presidential and legislative election, what is your take? If millions are not going to be voting and we don't have a clear record, census is not completed as expected, and things are not done in a timely manner, what do you foresee? Are we headed for chaos here? What's going on?
When Front Page Africa said millions may now vote, that is obvious. If you look at our number of registered voters and those who are not registered, you also look at the data from the past elections. You look at the amount of people that voted or that have been voting in those elections and versus those that didn't vote. You still have millions of people left, that are not voting. But then what the message those guys these people are trying to send is that the election process may not be clear, it may not be transparent, it may not be free, it may not be fair, it may not be credible. That is the message, direct message. Other than that, we know every election years, millions are left out. Some people willfully don't vote. Some people don't have to, some people don't really care. But let me tell you this. These are things that opposition is supposed to be focusing on. Power is coming from the people. If people are not voting, if people are not registered properly, if the numbers are not put in the right perspective, that's the time people can cheat. That's the time people can cheat. That's the time they can infuse numbers in there. That's the time they will suppress some numbers in some area. That's the time they can inflate some numbers in some area. So yes, there will be a lot of people that will now vote. At this point, at this time of the year, people still talking about voter registration in Liberia when the election is is it October? October 10th?
Yes, according to them.
When the election is about 9 months, then we stay talking about election, voter registration, voter education. Look at the timing for the campaign. Basically, the possibility is that there might not be an election come October. And if there is election, like Prince Johnson predicted before, the election will be rigged if we are wins the election. I can tell you right now, if I'm not sure if there will be election when you look at things, but if there is an election, it's going to be very, very crazy. Yeah, anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Well, it's very, and on top of it, based on the reporting of what we are aware of, if that money does not come through from Turkey, the CDC is toast,
Yeah,
and that could impact the general election because they might not want to have the general election. And from what we are noticing, they're creating a prerequisite around everything to not hold an election. And I wouldn't be surprised if they use the legislature to push the election day to another day. I wouldn't be surprised for that, or to another time, or to suspend it. Just as the president left the country and wrote the legislature, extended his time. The constitutional bar that one, that's not something that we need to worry about. Without the acquiescence, he told them to extend it. And he didn't request it. He told them to extend it. And they had no option but to extend it. But not only that, yesterday, we should have had a State of the Nation address, right? We didn't have it. They came up with some flimsy excuse or whatever it is now because there was no need for them to. What did they celebrating, like, bro? You get food to eat for you celebrating? What did you celebrating? The holiday came on a weekend. You also say, thank God, use that money to make more money, but they found all the excuses in the world to go around. But so that's what we're faced with. And again, this voter roll, voter registration, this has been noise that we heard from 2017. Chad Bronskin and other people contested this. Sometimes I don't like to talk about Joseph Yuma Boakai in this context, but Joseph Yuma Boakai sat and did nothing. When Charles Bronsky and other people were going to court, they were doing nothing. But they were going to the second round, or they didn't even push for this to be cleaned up. But let's move past that because we have another time to get into that aspect. I want to talk about the most recent revelations from or sayings from Eugene Fagon. First of all, what do you make of Eugene Fagon as opposed to what he says or what he said before we get into the nitty gritty? What do you make of this person, Eugene Fagon?
are we going to play the video at some point?
Uh, you do you want us to play it?
Okay, you don't want to, that's fine. But I think it's important for those who might not have listened to him. But when you ask me why, maybe you can try to find it why I talk about this. You know, before our people listen to the video, you know, we came on this platform and I said that I wrote it on my page that if anybody take Eugene Fagon seriously, your soul should not be taken seriously. And I really mean what I said. I meant it that time and I mean it today. However, Eugene Fagon cannot be taken seriously based on the way he portrays himself, pretending to be the political genius, pretending to be the most eloquent and know-it-all person that can make somebody president or they can bring somebody down. When we in fact know that everything he's doing is out of frustration. We in fact know that everything he's saying it today because he was kicked out of the government. And when we in fact know that because McGill is no longer in the picture as Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, where he had access to all the money, where he and others were benefiting, we know those are the reasons why. But one of the reasons why it's important for us to talk about what he says, because there are other people's lives involved. And this guy was not just anybody in the government. If it comes to all the predictions, he's running his mouth, this person will win, this person will not win, all that nonsense, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't move me. And I don't think any serious political party would take Eugene Fagon openly to be on your side. You'll be setting yourself up for failure. Whatever he's doing with the CDC right now, he could do the worst with you. Eugene Fagon was one of the major contributors to bringing the CDC government down because his mouth. So, the reason why it's important to highlight some of the statements he made recently, because it involves other people's life. Because he said, if he is pushed, he will tell the world, he will tell the Liberian people how he said 6 auditors in the audio, but we know about 4 auditors. We know about 44 auditors that got killed mysteriously. And he admitted that the people were murdered. And this guy was the government mouthpiece. We don't take him seriously when he's making political predictions, when he's acting like he knows everything about politics, blah, blah, blah. That's not the point. But wherein he served and was in the know of everything, as a matter of fact, he was giving the information, first-hand information to go and report. Wherein he said there were a lot of things that he was told to go and talk about, but he didn't talk about them because he felt that they were not right. I believe Eugene Fagon knows more than we know. Maybe I believe he knows more than he has revealed. So it's important, Steve. If Eugene Fagon says, I will tell you how the people died, Eugene Fagon should be under investigation as we speak. From both the United States and the Liberian government or Liberian justice system. Don't you think the family of those people that died, that were allegedly murdered, deserve justice? They do. He said, before, I don't know, it's the main name, the person is Neshua. Before this person was murdered, that he was the last person that the person met. He was the last person that the person met. And he was the only person that knew the damaging information that was in the document that the man had. Think about this. He said the man came to share the information with McGill because McGill was the person running the government. Whether President we are there or absent, McGill was the one running the government. So the man came to report to the government after the audit to tell the government the damaging information that they uncovered. And he said he too was privileged for the guy to share with him the information that were in that document. He was the only person. And when he was asked whether or not this person spoke with McGill, he said no. Did McGill see the document? He said no. Okay. He went further to say that he believed the people were murdered because of the damaging information or informations that were in that document. And if you the only one that saw those information, you're the only one that were told the information, and the people were killed because of that information in there, and you say you believe he was murdered because of that information, so who killed him? Who killed him? Eugene Fagon may think, running his mouth as he's doing it right now, you think he's trying to hurt the government? He might think like that. Or trying to say, you know what, since we are no longer part of this government, let's just burn it down. But in so doing, you can consciously or subconsciously incriminate yourself. And I believe Eugene Fagon is already incriminated in this process. I think the government, the family of the people deserve better. They deserve to know. They deserve to know how their family members were killed. I mean, your family person died. You're trying to find a way as to how they died. Somebody that were in the know of everything that this government is doing, telling you, say, you know what? They didn't die by themselves. They were murdered. That alone. And moreover, he's telling you not only that they were murdered, but know the reason why they were murdered. He said they were murdered because of the information I was told. And I was the last person he talked to. So who, since the mayor came to show to the government, the government person did not see it. And he talked to you. He told you exactly the damaging information that were there. Who did you tell? Well, they may get something. You're not take care of the man. You're not talk to the man. You're not do something about the man. You may get something that were damaged because you said you were the only person that saw it, that talk about that the man talked to about. The person he came to show it to, that person was not available. And you're saying the man got killed because of the information that he shared with you. Who killed him? That's one thing, Steve. Second thing, he said the Liberian government is the one that murdered Matthew Innes. If this guy was the government's mouthpiece, if this guy was the one speaking and defending the government, he's telling you that these people were murdered. Is that not a probable cause to open an investigation? Moreover, if the United Nations going to sanction people in Liberia, government officials in Liberia, for allegedly being involved with human rights violations, for allegedly being involved with mysterious killing of people, being involved with corruption, and somebody that was part of that group is telling you, I know what happened. Is it not making it easier for the American government? Fagon should be under investigation as we speak. Not only to call him, maybe the American people already got some information, but I think Fagon, there's nobody that can collaborate those information properly. There will be no credible witness than someone who has the first-hand information, who was a part of it. In fact, those things did not happen today, or yesterday. If he wasn't part of it, why he didn't talk about it the day after it happened? If Fagon was not aware of how that man was killed, if he wasn't part of the whole plot to execute the man because of the information the man had, if he wasn't part of it, why he didn't talk about it when he was still in government? And even after leaving government, since when that man was murdered, Steve? How long ago? A while ago, more than a year ago, correct?
Yes, almost going on 2 years, because it was sometime in October of 2020.
Okay. Why is it he didn't talk about it? He's talking about it now because he got kicked out of the government, and his recruiter got kicked out of the government. So now,
Mr. Kane,
yes,
I want to hold you there for a second. I do have the video, but I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question because you made some kind of statement that brought my attention to this question. From the public, how many auditors do we know that are dead from a public standpoint?
we know about 4.
About 4. But why did Eugene Fagon say 6 though?
Maybe he knows more than we know. That's what I said earlier.
So who are those other 2?
I have no idea.
Secondly, you said Eugene Fagon should be questioned. Interestingly, yesterday, when Eugene Fagon made a post, first of all, when we got the information that this is the road they wanted to go, to tell you this is all games for them, when Eugene Fagon made a post, Eugene Fagon and Kev Hassan have gone back and forth on this issue of the auditor since last week. But interestingly, Costa talked to it. But Costa does not know that he also made a video. He made 2 videos. One on October 7th. And he also made another video. Let me find a date here, which is 2020. Because they get it, hundreds of people. And October 6th, both days.
Who?
Costa.
Okay.
He did tell the public in those videos that he has the evidence that Patton Yensua was murdered. So the question to you is, should he also be a person of interest? How did they have this evidence? Both of them, because both of them are claiming that they have evidences. How did they get the evidences?
So I'm not privileged to the video for Costa.
I'm privileged to both of them.
You told me about it. I think you sent it to me, but I haven't listened to it. Can we play the video?
Okay, let's play Eugene Fagon first, and I will roll his own next.
Okay, do that.
Okay, let's play Eugene Fagon briefly. Give me a second, because we had to put context to this.
Yeah, but why Steve is trying to do that? Somebody asked him, or somebody say he disagree. Eugene Fagon can. No, Eugene Fagon is not working for the government currently, and that's his part of that is part of his frustration. So
After that, I'll let it go. Does anybody know any audit report or anything from the 30 million? The answer is no. The $25 million mock-up. And when the issue came, I was told, I was the deputy minister, I was told to tell the country that WFP is an international organization, therefore they cannot be subject to audit. That's about Tyler Brentford money I can either audit. But again, like I said, I was blasted at 16 billion mop-up exercise. The 16 billion, sorry. I went to Nathaniel Petrie and had a clear explanation of that money and what had happened. And that our country's currency in circulation was about 17.5 million. So it was not possible for the 16 billion to get missing. Then mean, our country money gone. So I got to learn that there were extra money printed and there was that money that got missing. And it was proven in the two reports. Did we dwell on that? Not much. The $25 million mop-up exercise. What did we focus on? We focused on 17.5 million. But nobody focused on the fact that the two reports clearly stated that the money was taken outside of the banking institutions and changed on the street. Now listen to this. The reason was that there was no money in the bank, I was told. The banking institutions did not have the money. That Fula people, Indian people, and other people were keeping the monies in their houses and changing it on the street. Now let's get one thing clear. How do you change 17.5 billion US dollars? I'm talking about the quantum of money, meaning that kind of money, US dollar, cash money. How do you change it outside? And you change it. Now let's come to the auditors. As government spokesperson, I have always been the one to ask questions because I have always been the one to sit behind the microphone. And James Goody, I hope you're cutting that clip from 4 hours, just as I showed you today.
Steve, this is not a video. This is not a video.
Go to 2 and then up to about 5, right in between there you will get it.
Yeah, I'll just take this off. This is not the video.
This is not the one?
No, this is not the one. The one that we're talking about now, the one we just played, is the one that when he came to somehow correct himself. When he saw the gravity of his previous comment, he came on to rectify it, try to correct himself. But in the video that I'm talking about now, he said he was trying to make comparison between him and Kef Hassan as to who is in the know of the weird government, everything surrounding the government, and who has worked for the government, who has done more for the government, and who has more information for the government or on the government. He said, do you want to know how the state auditor were murdered? So in this one that you just seen right now, there were trying to give qualifier to it. But in the original video, and even on the video that he did for himself, he made it very clear that you want me to tell you how the sixth auditor died, so you should be quiet. Do you want me to tell you what happened to the 16 billion? you should be quiet. The 25 million. How Matthew Innes died? So he's saying directly on camera, if you tell somebody, do you want me to tell you how this person died or these people died? It means that you know exactly how they died. That's plain and simple. Even somebody that never went to school, they can understand it the first time.
Okay, let me why I got that video, because I think I pulled off the wrong video from it should have been the one for Friday. Let me get
so
while you're speaking, I'll get a Costa video about where he told the public on his show.
So
he has the evidence that
with regards to Costa and in his statement, Fagons, when it comes to what happened in the government and how it happened, Fagon was privileged to the information, to first-hand information. As a matter of fact, Fagon, even in his effort to explain to the people, he said he even questioned the government also accused them of murdering the APS. I don't know call it APS. How do you call it? EPS officer.
Okay, I think I have both videos. Let me play the Costa on first because it's already in line. Then I'll play the Eugene Fagon on really quick as well. So let's get started with Costa on because we got to pinpoint this and clarify to the Liberian people.
Account for us as well, so that people in Liberia who don't have bank cards can pay the dues to those mobile money platforms. But so that's it. And I'm checking. Yesterday, I think we generated about $358 in dues. Pay your dues, please. $5, $10. Pay your dues. Very, 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 very important. Now, so yesterday I put out a video. I did a podcast in the evening time. Yesterday, evening time, Liberian time, 8 p.m. Liberian time, afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern time in the United States. The government would have you believe that the LRA, the third LRA worker who died, they would have you believe that he was not murdered, that it was an accident, that he was driving and he suddenly lost control and ran off the road into a house.
Yeah.
That's what the government would have you believe. That is a narrative. But we have evidence to the contrary. Mr. George Famboto, I hear his real name. Famboto is Fahnboto. Sorry, yesterday I pronounced it as Famboto, but I'm told the correct spelling of his name is Famboto, Famboto. So we're told that George Famboto, who was an auditor at the LRA, just like Albert Peters, who was the assistant commissioner for internal audit. Yes, Albert Peters was an assistant commissioner. He was one of the top guys in charge of audits. And Gifty Lama was an analyst. The lady who died, who was murdered with him. So Mr. Famboto was an auditor himself. So now auditors of the LRA have become an endangered species. You know what an endangered species is? any kind of species of an animal or whatever that is on the that is going extinct. It's just being killed. That's what's happening. When you are an auditor of the LRA, you are an endangered species. That is what it appears to be. So the government will have you believe that Mr. Famboto died in what they tried to stage as an accident. That he was driving, he suddenly lost control and ran off the road into a house and killed himself. But the pictures and the video that I published yesterday. Now, the reason I haven't put the video out because many people are telling me, please don't publish it. The videos is too bad. Mr. Famboto was driving home from his boss's house. Now, people are asking, what is the name of his boss? Whose house he went to on Sunday? Now, Mr. Famboto went to one of his bosses on Sunday at the boss's request to help the boss do some extra work. He did not get attacked on his way to his boss's house. He went to his boss's house, drove in his own car, they did some work. He took his computer with him, his computer bag. They did some work. On his way back home in the evening, around 6:30, 7 p.m., that is when Mr. Famboto, just around SKD Boulevard, 72nd Road there, Boakai.
I see that 72nd Road there, we need to be careful.
Well, that is the same area where they dumped the late Matthew Innes's body after they had killed him.
Yeah, the C road.
Yep. So Mr. Famboto was driving back home. Apparently, they knew he was at his boss's house because they followed him when he was leaving his boss's house. So we need to know this boss. People are saying the boss should be a person of interest. Mm-hmm. Who did Mr. Famboto go to do extra out of the office work with on Sunday? What is that boss? What is the name of that boss? We need to know. Because did he place the call to the guys to let them know that Famboto is here at my house? And did they go and lay ambush for him and start following him? Here is what happened, folks. According to eyewitness account, Famboto was leaving on his way back home. These guys on a motorcycle, two of them, they pulled up right next to him. His windshield was rolled down. And the guy on the back, the guy riding in the back of the motorcycle, pulled a cutlass or machete and struck with such brazen ferocity, struck Famboto on the head with the cutlass and split his head open. I say, split his head open. The moment he did that, Famboto lost control of the car he was driving. And that's when the car just drove off the road and ran into a house. The community people, the people who were on the scene, they pulled Famboto, who was bleeding with his open skull. I mean, you can see the mark. Now, when somebody is driving in a car and they lose control, as the government will have you believe, oh, the man was driving, then the man lost control of the car. He drove off the road into a house. Listen, you know, he did not penetrate the house. The house is not solid concrete to say this is thick concrete steel house. He just ran into the house. He didn't penetrate and break the house down. Okay, a moving car, speeding car that drives into a house on the road. You know what it's going to do to that house, right?
Sure.
That's just going to drive straight through it, straight into the living room. That's where it's going to go. But Famboto did not drive into the living room. You can see only the head of the car hits the house. The entire car you can see in the video that I showed. So Famboto runs into the house and the people pulled him out. And you see them standing over him and they tied a cloth around his head, his open skull. A few people have asked me for the video. I can't even publish it. It's too bad, too nasty. But when you look at his head, you've seen people who have been involved in car accidents. You know, they run off the road, they hit their head, they bang their head on the steering wheel.
Okay, Mr. Canning, while I'm pulling up Eugene Fagon's videotape, I have a question to ask you. So far, Costa has claimed that he has evidence in this particular video. When you go back, that's what he claimed. My question is, when Eugene Fagon talked about the document that Patton Yeswa had, he said Patton Yeswa brought a document to show them to Nathaniel McGill. Here is my question for you. Eugene Fagon did not tell us if at any point Nathaniel McGill saw the document, did not see the document, or whatever it is. Is Nathaniel McGill aware of this entire incident? Are they linking Nathaniel McGill to this particular killings or death?
Before I answer that, when I listen to what Costa was just saying in that video, he said, according to eyewitness account, an eyewitness told him how the man was murdered. And he said it on the radio. And if Costa was not Christian or has not been Christian, the family of the person that he said that was stabbed with cutlass, they should start to ask questions to know who those eyewitnesses are. People that saw the people on the motorbike and knowing that this man will have his window down and go and struck him in the manner in which he's saying. I think he too need to answer a question. He needs to answer question as to who are the eyewitnesses. But overall, any account from that of Costa and Eugene Fagon, when it comes to the Liberian government, Eugene Fagon carries more weight because he was there. He was a part of everything going on. In fact, if Eugene Fagon is telling you that the man came to see McGill, but McGill did not see him. But the man told me, he said, I'm quoting, the man told me the damaging informations that were in the document. Do you think McGill will keep that to himself? McGill will definitely tell Fagon will definitely tell McGill. damaging information about the government. McGill used to own that government. So McGill was the one running the government. So if Eugene Fagon is privileged to any such information, he will definitely say it to McGill. And you know very well, McGill was the one in control of the so-called former generals. McGill was the one that called them in his house, in his compound, gave them money, gave them bag of rice, and even told them that they're going to put them on salary. Even encouraged them to attack Yeka Koloba when they went to have that press conference saying that they're going to arrest Yeka Koloba, a state representative. That was after their meeting with McGill. McGill provided them bag of rice and money. So this thing is deeper than we know. It's deeper than it has been revealed. But one thing I know for sure, if Eugene Fagon is apprehended, if Eugene Fagon is questioned, there will be more revelation.
Okay, I think I have the Fagon tip here. Do you mind if I play it really quick?
Play it.
Let's have it roll up here.
No. Since you took your job from me, a year and a half, almost 2 years, am I dead? No. Am I living? Yes. But more people got to live. More people survive. More people are happy today. I lost a job. It's a government job. But who's begging for a job today? You and your political leader. He's begging the people to elect him again. That's begging for job. He lied down on a Prince Johnson foot and licked Prince Johnson's shoes. That's begging for job. Your people, including you, are begging me every day to return. That's begging for job. Now ask me, have I begged you guys for job? Why are you people like this? So let me say this to you, Kev, in my closing. Kev, what I've done for the CDC, if you only do 5%, I will resign as a politician. But as it stands now, you don't have a party. So when we're talking here, hush. The coalition document expired in October of last year. You have not signed one yet. So you don't have a party. Hush. As I speak to you, George Weah does not have a coalition. So hush. As I speak to you, he licking Prince Johnson's shoes and sending his lieutenants to me. So hush. As it stands right now, George Weah, as he is, does not know his political future. So hush. Because what we know, remember, I was your minister for information when $16 billion came about. I ain't talked yet, so hush. 25 million. I ain't talked yet, so hush. The death of the auditors. I ain't talked yet, so hush. The 30 million stimulus. I ain't talked yet, so hush. If they send you here to challenge me, I will not even see you say, look at my glasses. Because when I open up, they will have to run for cover. I'm using no glasses. Read my eyes. What I know and how I know it, you don't know 10%. And the next time you try it on this platform, you will know how the 6 auditors die.
Okay. Stop it right there.
Eugene Fagon.
Stop it right there. You heard that?
Yep.
The man said he knows about 16 billion. He knows about the 25 million. And if you try me again, I will tell you how the 6 auditors died. In law enforcement, there's something called probable cause. Some of them call it prima facie. But me, I'm not, I'm not a legal practitioner. But I'll just use the layman term. A probable cause, a reason to open an investigation was just given by Eugene Fagon. That I know everything. I was there. I was part of it. You know nothing. But if you talk again, I will tell you how the people died. Listen to it. He's not saying, I will tell you how I think the people died, or how I believe the people died, how I will tell you how the people died. You don't know what I know. So, if the people were killed, we have a lot of people watching Steve right now. Let me tell you something. The people that are watching this show right now, some people watching from Europe, some people watching from Australia, some people watching from China, a lot of different areas. And majority of the people that are here, they too want to know how the people die. Do you know how many people that have been killed, that have been murdered mysteriously? When we talk about it, people say, no, they were not killed. When Matthew Innes, who's supposed to speak to the people, to give it the true version of what happened to the 16 billion, he was murdered mysteriously. When Adolph Lawrence, the late Representative Adolph Lawrence, when he said we have to investigate, we have to find out as to what is really going on, what really happened to Matthew Innes. We have to summon the justice minister and the police director on Monday to come and tell us as to how Matthew Innes died. Him too was murdered mysteriously. So it's like anybody who dared to tell the truth, you're either dismissed or murdered. When Liberian people are confused, when the family of those individuals are in tears, when their hearts are broken, trying to find out as to what really happened to them or to their loved ones. Somebody who was a part of it come in public, on radio, on television, on camera, and say, do you want me to tell you how your son died? You want me to tell you how your husband died? You want me to tell you how your wife died? I would say, hell yes. I want to know. I want to know the perpetrators. I want to know who killed my brother. I want to know who killed my husband. I want to know who killed my father. They want to know. So, in short, Steve, there should be 2 investigations. And I'm talking about open investigation. Fagon could be indicted to Liberia by the Justice Ministry of Liberia to go and tell the truth as to who killed the people. He knows it. And the United States government should also, people who are really, really giving information to the United States, they got more information today than they had. This information should be forwarded to the United States. If the United States and the world spend a lot of money to bring peace in Liberia, but if people's family are going to be murdered in the manner in which Mr. Fagon is saying, it means that Fagon knows exactly how the people were killed, and his bossman, the man that he was minding the gate for, when the people came, he went to him twice. The man came in with the information. The man said, I don't have to let him wait. The man waited and waited and waited. Later on, he could not meet the person he came to meet, but yet he shared with you information, and the information in which you said was the reason why he was murdered, and you were in the same government. Fagon should actually answer a question. It should also serve as witness to tell the world as to how the auditors were killed. Beyond that, you should be able to tell the Liberian people what actually happened to the 25 million.
I want to ask you a question
as well. Just 1 second. And when you just listen to Costa said he knows from eyewitness report how people got killed, how that man got killed. He too should be asked. He was not in government. He didn't say I was there, but he said from eyewitness report. So somebody told him, somebody who was there told him. He too knows. Sometimes it's one thing to allege something or to accuse somebody of an allegation based on mere speculation. But to say clearly, for example, I said personally that I feel that what's his name? Adolph Lawrence was murdered based on the circumstances surrounding his death. And the government failure to give us clear report as to who was the driver, who owned the truck, and the report as to what happened to the driver that was driving that truck that killed the man. In the absence of those information, the people of Liberia have the right to assume that you're hiding something. But somebody who said they were there, they saw it, and they know exactly what happened and how it happened. I think Fagon is more credible in the information provided because he was there. You can ask your question, Steve.
I have a couple of questions I want to push you on really quick, Mr. Kanye. Could Fagon have told Nathaniel Maggio exactly what was in there, considering he admitted that the man told him that these things were damaging? Could Fagon have told Nathaniel Maggio that, and Nathaniel Maggio told someone else?
It's possible.
It's possible.
It's possible. And based on what Fagon said, in fact, Fagon said, I believe they were murdered because of the damaging information that were there. So
most definitely.
And he said he was the last person that the man saw. You see that video you were playing earlier, previously? That he said that. He said he was the last person that the man met. He was the last person that the man saw. He
Okay.
was the only person through that the man shared the information with regards to the damaging information that were in there. And he believed for which the man was murdered. So that means he told somebody the damaging information that were there, or he ordered the man to be murdered because he knows that he was part of the government. So
Yes.
when Fagon is being pushed to say, hey, since you say you want to tell us how this man was killed, can you tell us? Hold on, wait a minute, first. Let me ask you, where's the cash app? You forget.
Oh,
You forget. I'm talking too much now.
I think I totally forgot.
Yeah,
But
I'll just remind you because someone just sent a text message again about it.
yes.
It's okay. So yeah,
Let me put it up really quick while we're talking.
yeah. So if Fangon said, do you want to know how the people died? He said, I know because I was there. I was part of it. Who else can be more credible to tell the truth about what really happened to the people? So let's forget the politics. Maybe Fangon was speaking, his attention is focused on the Liberian government, the current Liberian government, and the next election. Forgetting to know that these people, they have family. Forgetting to know that these people have family, they have children, wives, husband, and the rest of it.
Well, I want to go back to something else.
Go ahead.
I want to pick your brain, the public, to give the public something to think about. One of the concerns I have is let me give me a second. Let me close this up here. Sorry guys, sorry about the disturbance there. This is what happens when. So one of the concerns I have is this. Fagon did not tell us that other people know about this information. The only person at this point, based on what he said, his narrative is he was the only person that was aware of it. As a matter of fact, he did say that he attempted to get Nathaniel McGill to speak with the deceased.
Twice.
His attempt was not fruitful. So he alone had the information.
Yeah.
Let's suppose he did not tell Nathaniel McGill. Did he tell someone else? Because
probably because he said the man was killed because of the information that was in there.
Exactly. And mind
So
you, the man was killed
who
the day
told
after.
somebody else? Who told somebody else? Did the man leave him and went to tell somebody else, or he the one that told somebody else?
Exactly.
That led to the killing of him.
Yes. So
who can better explain that than more than McGill?
Right.
I mean,
are these possibilities?
More than Fagon.
Are these possibilities that could possibly exist? That he might have told someone else? Because as far as we're concerned, the information was not out to the public. Neither was it out to anybody else. The only two people need his call so far is him and McGill. So both of them, one of them would have known the facts. One of them would have been aware of the fact. And we have established, based on what he said, that he was aware of the facts.
Yes.
That if he's aware of the facts, who else did he tell?
And beyond that, Steve, since damaging information were in there as it relates to corruption, and he said he was also privileged to know those damaging information, can he also share those information as well right now to us, to the Liberian people, to the American people, and the world? Because if there were damaging information from the audit, that he saw, that he was privileged to, or that whether he was told, why he did not share those information with people? Even before he got fired, but after he got fired, he did not stay. But now everything's coming out now because McGill is fired.
So then I want to pivot. I want to pivot now to the. I don't want to say to the politics of it.
Okay.
But
Somebody said that he said that he told McGill of it about it.
Well, if he told McGill, then it puts both of them in a sticky
Yeah,
position.
so that mean, but McGill was the one in control of the death squad. So McGill was the one that was controlling those guys.
And we are quite aware. So then let's pinpoint this thing. Remember when we started the show with Prince Johnson? Prince Johnson admitted that McGill was part of the delegate that came to see him.
Yeah.
And from all indication, based on the sanction, the CDC should not be doing any business with McGill. He can't be the face of CDC, you're the representative of CDC. He can be a partisan, but he can't be going on to negotiate. That's doing business in the name of CDC, whether you like it or not. So here is my concern. Fast forward, McGill gets fired. McGill resigns. I mean, the president accepts McGill's resignation. My question now is, in as much that it took Eugene Fagon this while to talk about this, the conversation that he had with Kev was not even about the auditors.
No.
All of a sudden, he brought it in the picture.
Yeah.
Here is the question. Is this McGill fighting back? Is this from the playbook of McGill and other people who want to fight this government? What do you think?
Yes. I would believe that McGill is fighting back. But sometimes fighting back is one thing. But if you don't fight the right way, you could end up incriminating yourself. You could end up putting yourself in the problem.
Do you think they've incriminated themselves? Because they placed themselves on the scene.
Absolutely.
They placed themselves with. He said.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, based on these revelations, McGill, Fagon should all be subjected to an investigation at this point. The government, whether it's the NSA, whether it's the NBI, whether it's the Liberal National Police, there is a probable cause to open investigation. And people as persons of interest to find out as to what really happened. Because according to this information, in fact, this could even be a disqualifier for McGill beside the sanction for allegedly being a part of a murder. I said, did I use the word allegedly? Yes. It was alleged by Eugene Fagon that the man's death, was because of the information he had. He saw the information. He told McGill about the information. He said he believed they were murdered because of that information, the information the man had. So what else now? What else? I think the Liberian government, if they really mean business, they need to start an investigation the way indict McGill, Fagon for questioning, and eventually there will be other names that will come out.
I have a question to ask you.
Yeah.
And I know normally you like to be very professional, careful about what you say, use of words. I know you like to do that, but I will ask you a direct question. Based on the fact that President George Weah made those statements in the church before the investigation was even carried out, that Gifted Lamar and Albert Peters were romantically involved, or however you want to term it, in the car, as evidenced by that it led to the death or so forth. Do you think President George Weah should be investigated as well for their mother? What does he know? How did he come over that conclusion? Do you think President George Weah should be under investigation for that?
I don't know what elaborate laws says about investigating or studying president, but given what we know now, evidenced by the statement from one of their own who was privileged to the information, it seems like the president was being dismissive of the information to downplay the life of other human beings in order to suppress information. That's what I believe. But I don't know whether or not the Liberian law allows a sitting president to be placed under investigation. And even if that is the case in Liberia, I do not see the possibility of we are being investigated. Mind you, just recently when the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission went to work and somehow indicted and recommended investigation of certain government officials. That was not even the president, ministers of agriculture and other ministers.
Right.
That whole institution was literally dissolved because to kill that investigation. So even if they have the information, even if the laws allow them to investigate the president, I am pessimistic that they will, because the president controls everybody in the government of Liberia, including the justice minister, the chief justice, the speaker of the house, and the pro-tem. So the president controls all three branches of government in Liberia, as we know. President does whatever he wants at any given time and on any given issues.
Let's come back to the politics of this. Considering Samuel Tuer's brother's name was mentioned, and from all indications, Samuel Tuer's brother was the one, based on the facts that have been said in public or based on the allegation, was the one that took Batanian Swat to the hospital when he was bleeding from his head or whatever, however you want to term it. Do you think this is to target Samuel Tuer and his family? Because so far, let's keep in context here. All of these murders, there's been 3 key government official names that have been circling around. Samuel Tuer, President George Weah, who inserted himself into the investigation by making those reckless statements, and also Nathaniel McGill. These 3 top government officials or two top government officials along with the president. What do you say?
I will not go as far as saying that Toure and his family could possibly be targeted. I will not go that far. But I know that the current fight within the CDC is in threefold. You got three fights going on. Wow, hold on one second. Yeah, we have three fights going on right now. The so-called disenchanted seditions that were fighting McGill, or that felt like they were kicked out, that felt like McGill and Eugene Nangbe were all from the opposition side, but they joined the CDC. So because of them, they were kicked out. Those seditions, they are one side. And when McGill left, they thought they were going to be given a privileged opportunity, like the Lester Attorney and other guys, the Mulba Moluden. And McGill people, even some outside of the CDC arrangement, that are fighting right now, we are directly or indirectly, they are doing it because of what they were getting from McGill. They're not getting it anymore. And they will go all out to say if they can bully we are in the CDC government, if they can bully key players, people that have weir's ear, the likes of Eugene Nangbe, Samuel Toure, if they can bully those people, if you can threaten them, they can bully them to submission, they will get their way through. If they can't get their way through, they will say, you know what, let's destroy it. Let's burn this thing down to ashes so that people will know they're not supposed to remove McGill. Because they remove McGill now, then the government went down, the CDC went down. There are people on that mission. But if they are not be careful, and most of the allegations are not based on what is happening now when they were not there. If their allegations are based on the time they were there and how they got the information, most of them will end up incriminating themselves subconsciously. Unknowingly, I mean, without knowing that they are doing it. You could do that.
I have another question because I think this is an interesting tale that we need to follow in terms of the fight between McGill, Toure, President Weah. Back in August 17, 2021, when the sanction came out, I did write a post and I said McGill will fight back.
You did.
And some people attacked me or whatever, but that's beside the point. Fast forward, it would interest you to see that Spoon Talk, which by all indication is pro McGill.
Hold on. You mean the institution Spoon Talk, or you mean Center Waterspoon? Because I just want to know exactly.
The institution.
Oh, the institution is pro McGill?
It's pro McGill.
Okay.
The Spoon Talk is pro McGill. We've seen a number of occasions. It's pro CDC as well. It's pro McGill. It's pro CDC. It has been revealed.
You think so?
Yes, and yes. They're pro CDC. They're pro McGill on numerous occasions. I even attended the inauguration for EULA in Philadelphia, and in the entourage that night was McGill, Witherspoon, Timberlake George. Let them say that loud. I was right there. And when McGill started to soon they get it back to McGill. And guess who introduced McGill? Ironically, to speak that night. Guess who introduced him?
Who?
Eugene Fagon. Interestingly, I was there. I don't say they say I was right there. Stanton was there. Timberlake George was there. Eugene Fagon was there. McGill was there, along with his entourage that he brought from Liberia. I think I stand to be corrected. I'm not sure if Pisota were there that night. I think Pisota and what's the other lady name from LPRC or something? One of them. Two of them were there that night. Fast forward. Here's why I'm asking this question. Spoon has been pro-government as well as Spoon talk, as evidenced by the connection with McGill. Since McGill was sanctioned, his resignation, we see Spoon talk kind of playing like they want to play smart or whatever it is. But let's move from that. The 1 minute they were attacked, 1 minute Allen and I attacking. Here is my question to you. Spoon talk, from all indications, what we know, the license is up for the renewal in April. The government has shown no sign to renew the license. Here is my question to you. Do you think McGill, Witherspoon, Eugene Fagon, Costa are fighting back, fighting this government, fighting the CDC-led government back? Just by even opening the channel for this conversation, do you think this is a fight back?
You open the chat room for this conversation?
For this conversation, because most recently, the public is aware, there seemed to be a barrage of attack on Samuel Twe.
No, we know that.
Yes. This is unprecedented. It is unprecedented.
All right. Let me say this though. Let me to answer your question. Let's first of all try to get it straight.
True.
If you say Spoon Talk is a pro CDC, how at the same time the CDC government will somehow delay or refuse or attempt to deny Spoon Talk lesson renewal?
That's a very good
question.
That is a very good question.
Yeah, because they cannot be pro CDC at the same time that CDC deny them of getting registering their stuff. So how can you explain that?
So we are reliably informed that from the time Nathaniel McGill was sanctioned and the way the sanction was handled, wherein they were, soon as they got sanctioned, the president went straight to action and suspended them.
Okay.
There started to be a friction. When Nathaniel McGill was asked for resignation to resign, and he laid his conditions, the president and the government wouldn't agree to those conditions at that time. Later on, he came back to resign. He seemed more isolated, away from the government. Stanton Witherspoon and other people, and the Spoon Foundation, Stanton Witherspoon and other people who are pro McGill, have this belief that Samuel Twe and other people from the government are behind the sanction while McGill was sanctioned. But here is what's interesting. They started to fight Samuel Twe, not in the benefit of the Liberian people, not to the benefit of the Liberian people, but to ensure that they make a point to Samuel Twe. Fast forward, before Samuel Twe will have this accident, you remember the guy who came out from Leges? They brought that guy on the set for a couple of times, the guy from Leges. And that guy provided some very
the guy who will provide information on Samuel Twe and the money connection and the account in Ivory Coast and stuff.
Yes. That guy
Okay.
provided some very damaging information that put the credibility of Sametwe and the rest of the guys who were in charge of the Legious money at stake. So Sametwe and other people in the government who are pro-government say will not renew their guy license because he's misbehaving. He's not falling in line. Mind you, again, this whole spoon talk was McGill's idea. The negotiation came from through McGill. The connection for them to be with the government came from through McGill, along with Costa. Because McGill's puppet is Costa, Eugene Fagon, and Stanton Witherspoon. 3 of them. They take order from McGill. It used to be Keith Hassan used to be among them.
So
Keith Hassan has
let me-
diverted to be more on the president's side, saying they went Liberia, than to be on McGill's side. So Keith Hassan get adopted part now.
So now, okay. So now, according to what I'm hearing, so now it technically no longer, or it should now be considered as pro McGill as opposed to pro CDC, because
not necessarily. Not
Okay.
necessarily. Not necessarily.
Why?
They're hanging with the pro CDC. Their first choice will be the government because it benefits them to keep their station open. Their first choice will not be opposition. So they hang with the government because they still want to keep their station and the license open. They know they can attack the government openly or go after the government like they do. But most recently, they started. So that prompted the government to say, we'll not renew the license come April. So that is the conversation that they're in. Now, they're using two channels. They're trying to negotiate with the government while they're playing hardball. But then they're also using, I'm being reliably informed that they're using the Papa Samuel Jackson to open up conversations, with international partners and other people so that they do not get the station shut down. But the government is bent on not renewing the license. So that is where the problem is as we speak now. So whatever you are seeing is part of the fight back from McGill. And it will not stop. It will not stop.
But so of recent,
Mhm.
I don't want to make this conversation about spoon, what is spoon or spoon talk. You know, I don't like to mention other network and there are people then on this show. But since you brought this up, I want to dig a little bit deeper. Of recent, I've listened to, even I told one of my friends from the spoon talk, I told the person that why is it that Stanton has been a little bit strong on George Weah and the government lately? And the person argued, "Oh no, Stanton being like that." I said, "No." I said, "No." I said, "I'm not sure whether he was a CDC, but I said I believe he was a George Weah supporter and somehow friendly with McGill." And the person told me, "Oh no, the mayor always been like that. Mayor already criticized the government." Yeah, but
Like stupid, yeah.
Yeah, but the recent attack, on the government and somehow promotion of Ambassador Joseph Nyima Boakai from some individuals on the spoon talk, don't you think that will deepen the wound, the friction that's already between the institution and the CDC?
But not only that, let me add up something again. The most recent constant communication with Senator Prince Johnson from Stanton, trying to insert himself as a kingmaker. He think he can make king. Let me say this. I know you can be professional. You don't let to call me. I can call me because me I don't go behind it all. I can call me. You professional. Me I'm not professional. Let me say this, Mr. Kane. This brings me to the prediction I made 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. The CDC destruction will come from in CDC. The opposition are able to defeat CDC. They're not able to destroy CDC. It has to be people from within CDC to destroy CDC. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to focus on is the fact that what you said, this fight, this thing that they are joking with, this thing that these guys are joking with, it will cost them. It will cost them seriously, because this is a serious fight. Mind you, this is a government. Let me just open up on this one. There is a plan to counter whatever Stanton and Spoon Talk is doing. There is a very serious plan coming up in the next few days to mess with him, because they also know exactly what they have done with him. Like that people you want to mess with. You don't want to be play from day one. Don't get into deal with them. I've always said it openly. You want to stay neutral from the CDC. Don't take money from them. Don't go behind the hall and deal with them. Anything you want to do, let it be transparent, open, clear to the public, because they will use it against you down the line. They will use it against you. So you think
CDC can do? You think CDC can openly do anything to stand on his business in Liberia?
Oh yes, most definitely. Forget that one. How to play that. They come and go.
What can they do?
A lot of different things.
Hi, but you think they will just illegally stop his business, or try to try to refuse to register him even if he's not in any violation?
Well, they reserve the right.
Just go ahead. This is just close to his business because they want revenge against him.
They reserve the right to do certain things.
The
government reserve the right to do certain things. Mind you, well, Mr. Cannon,
without any violation, they should just go
you acting jail to say the government that you're dealing with, that government that can follow the rule of law.
No. For example, they closed Root FM, a closed Costa station because of actions from Costa.
Which action?
There are reasons.
Exactly. So they will create their own reasons.
There are a lot of reasons.
They will create their own reasons too. A second part of it, guess what? They don't have to even close it up. They can get in to run around for years or for months. They can get in to run around.
Yeah, but if they refuse to register the institution or be renewed the registration, that means they will go out of business. They will not be able to operate. That's closing. And I think I don't think that would be fair though.
No, I don't think it will be fair, but guess what?
I don't think that would be, because you cannot weaponize the government to fight people who disagree with you.
But the government told you that they will weaponize the media to fight too. So as part of the evidence that they wanted to weaponize the media, you know who they started with? They started to build a Spoon Station. Do you know how Spoon Station was actually built? The Spoon Station actually came about through the fact that one of the very first persons that started it was Ashford Galley. They switched it down the line as part of the effort to buttress government communication at that time, because they felt in their heads that opposition was taking over the media and saying all kind of things. So guess what? They use opposition, those who claim, see my finger, those who claim to be opposition, such as Costa and the double agent, they use them, they use tele to promote the platform. So today, let me tell you something. Today, the move that you see with United Party, all the small offer they're making behind closed door, and all the small things they're doing, and they're looking at them. The team say they're smart. The one Nigerian guy watching it funny Nigerian show, you can say you think say they're wise. The team say they're wise. They trap that Stanton now sell for them getting a small cash on cover, and the team say do something and making influence in the party.
Small cash. You know the party people?
Joe Biden giving a small cash. You know the party people? Yes. Stanton not only talking to them, he's spending money behind them. He is giving a small cash. Look, Mr. Cannon, this whole thing here is a beautiful nonsense in a mess. When you're ready to explode, the party will be all over the place, because the issues will come out. Look, this is a bigger plot than we think for the survival of Liberia. These guys are playing games. They're not serious. They don't want change. For them, they got to be kingmaker. Because out of a setting, guess what? the communication with Prince Johnson has escalated. Oh, I call Prince Johnson every day. I just laugh. He didn't even know what they own. He does not know who they're messing with.
Somebody, I don't know whether they want me to call their name, but somebody sent $50. And you know the reason the person put there for sending the money?
No.
Is it for speaking the truth for Liberia? But the person's last name is Doe. I don't want to call the first name because they didn't put it there whether or not I should call their name. But I want to say thank you to the person. They sent cash app to SKTV.
So the people plan B, Mr. Cannon, the people plan B is, okay, we don't see light in CDC. CDC making too much mistake. Let's revert again to people that we're comfortable with. Let's revert again to people that we think there will be the next people that will push around. Out of a setting, they have become back in those in close proximity with Unity Party people, and they can criticize Joseph Yuma Boaka on the show. They can say wrong about Joseph Yuma Boaka. They can say that. They can say that. We watching. We watching. We are watching very closely, and we're following the move. We are watching very closely. I said the other day on your Sunday show in public that Stanton Witherspoon inserted himself into the conversation of Joseph Yuma Boaka coming to America. We have not authenticated yet. I said here it is alleged that he gave $15,000 in the first amount. He spoke to Joseph Yuma Boaka's daughter, somebody or female connected closely to Joseph Yuma Boaka. He has been making a connection with her. He's been inserting himself in the Unity Party to make decisions, just like Costa to be kingmaker. Because guess what happened? These are some of the conversations that he and Costa and sit and have. Mr. Cannon, to the Liberian people, these guys are double agents. They're not serious. They're not ready.
Steve, hold on. I like the fact that when you start talking about these things, you always say, you are speaking as Steve. Because you know what? The information that you just talked about regarding Stanton and his connection or new connection with the UP or Joseph Yuma Boaka is a conversation that could spark a serious conversation because of recent. I listened to Stanton saying day before yesterday. He was saying something about JNB. He said, he gave information, he said, and I know it's right, it's true, because when it's about that, I know. So are you telling me that, so now perhaps he may be looking at JNB as the next, the Unity Party as the next government in waiting. So because the relationship is going, not going well with the current, so you're trying to like switch loyalty? Is that what you're indicating, or that's how it seems to me or to you?
Well, let me put it in my own English because I take responsibility for everything I say.
Okay.
Let me put it in my own English. Stanton dangled, not his first time, messing around with the party, dangled the possibility of even becoming vice president for Joseph Yuma Boaka, Stanton Witherspoon. I've been saying it. He dangled that possibility. It didn't materialize. As a matter of fact, he was instrumental. The first time Joseph Yuma Boaka came here, he was instrumental in almost everything Joseph Yuma Boaka did here. He was instrumental in it. When I say instrumental, I mean he called shots. He was directly involved financially as well with them. But that's a side point. He tried another time again. No, let me tell you something, Mr. Kanye. Let me tell you something. It's one thing for you to think that you smart, you can outsmart everybody. But it's another thing too For you to just come somewhere and you want ally, you can just go, you can just position everybody and play everybody. Then he tried with a he tried with a ANC to get close proximity, talk to Cummings, get information from Cummings. That one he tried to position on Jude ANC and Tile, but that one at a different level. You know what I want.
I mean, forgot about that one.
It didn't hold. It didn't hold water. I'm telling you, it didn't hold water. The bringing of Mariah, other thing. As a matter of fact, he refused. They refused. And because of this, maybe they'll send it, they'll go back to bring Mariah on the show. They refused to send Mariah the link to go on the show. You can see Mariah on the show again. Look, let me say this to you, Mr. Kane. All he's trying to do is try to insert himself to be a kingmaker, to be close to people who are in power, to ally he's making power or he's in control of certain things. But the news I get on him is this: he better be careful because he's playing with very dangerous people who will use him right now and make him feel like he's going to achieve something. Later on, they would mess with him because that's exactly what it is. The whole United Party thing is not going nowhere. Nobody in United Party not stupid. They know what's up. They're in a movement right now. Even with the Costa man, they're in a movement with him right now. They got their plans. They know what's good. Ain't nobody going to stop them. They see how you see resisting. You guys
Steve, let me say this though. I don't know where all these informations are coming from, but not too long ago, the Spoon Talk was considered or was accused of being ANC platform, wherein Mariah was there. At some point, I saw Muna Faha went there. And Dr. Richardson is there. And what's his name? Ben Sanvi being part of the Liberty Party that is with Mr. Cummings. So they were speaking, all those people were there to speak good of Mr. Cummings or the CPP or the ANC.
You were trying your law that time.
So how all of a sudden, now we are hearing this now that they are UP, or maybe the Stanton is trying to somehow support UP. And at the same time, supporting CDC. Don't you think they will argue that we're being accused of everything, of supporting everybody? That means we are neutral?
They've been accused of supporting everybody?
Yeah. Because at some point, some people say, this is it. I know a lot of United Party people were insulting Stanton and the entire Spoon Talk every day. That they talk nonsense to Joseph Boakai. I saw that.
Let me tell you something.
And I also saw when Joseph people were accusing them of being CDC and the same time ANC. But now, myself, I've noticed and seen Stanton bashing the government, even questioning reasons why CDC should not be elected. But he's not saying it directly, but he's telling you the CDC must take, President William must tell you reason why he should be re-elected. At the same time, out of a sudden saying all the good things about Boakai and saying all the wrong thing about Cummings and Weah of late. But when you ask them, you don't think he can make the argument, say, well, at some point I was accused of supporting this person. Today I'm accused of this person. So maybe I'm not for anybody. Can he make that argument?
That is not true. Because the truth of the matter is, let me say this to you, Mr. Kane. The truth of the matter, and that truth will stand up until today. If elections were held today, they would vote for President George Weah. Majority of the Spoon Talk panelists would vote for President George Weah. I'm saying it to you today.
So
some of their convictions are not grounded in supporting what is right. It's grounded on being close to power, having influence, being kingmakers, or what kind of deal they can get that will benefit them. It has never been grounded in doing what is right. So when they can get their way, like with McGill, where they were pushing things around, they were all in bed with the government. So then McGill is no longer there. Samatua can give them chance to be rolling the way they were rolling. Samatua has become the target. They looked around for where they can people.
So basically, they switch loyalty because of
exactly
McGill's dismissal.
That is the concept. That is the mindset. So their support would change based on the easier side where they can go together way easier.
Anyway, I can say they, because in this case now you're speaking of Stanton Witherspoon as a person.
Let me rephrase what I said. Let me rephrase what I said. I agree with you. Let me rephrase what I said. Some of them.
Okay.
Some of them. Not all of them, some of them. Because when you are convicted about something, you are convicted about it, especially when the situation hasn't changed. You see? So the only thing about their loyalty is been changing based on where they can go to have influence and do what they're supposed to do.
So hold on. Let me maybe this thing we're about to leave, but it's getting even more interesting. So this thing that Stanton is giving money to some people around JMB and stuff like that. So what's up with this thing with money? Because the last time, prior to 2020 senatorial election, we were informed that Stanton gave money to Dillon, and Dillon was committed and even promised after the election you're going to give the first interview to Stanton and what have you. And that Stanton also give money to Senator Nyomli. We heard that. And also openly I heard Costa saying that Stanton gave $25,000 to both CPP and the CDC during one of the elections. I think I heard himself saying that. But then eventually, the Spoon Talk and Dillon fell apart. The Spoon Talk and the Liberty Party from the Nyomli side fell apart. So, do you think this whole money for loyalty or money for support is just temporary stuff?
No, it's not temporary stuff. It has two critical indication. The first indication it has is it's meant to have a leverage over you.
Yeah, but for how long? I'm sorry. That's why I asked the question. Is it
for how long? As long as that money is there, and you see, that's why it's important that when you take money from actors, as a political person, as an entity, it's okay for you to disclose it. There is nothing wrong. You don't have to wait for that entity or that person to disclose it. You disclose it, so it's not like a leverage. Because up until now, has the CPP reported that, hey, we got money from Stanton? They haven't reported that. Saying that alone put questions and dents on the CPP. Has Senator Dillon reported that Stanton contributed to a campaign? Senator Nyomli Kanga Lawrence, has she reported that they contributed to a campaign? Let me tell you something. The issue of taking money from people during campaign time, you got to be very careful who you take money from during campaign time. Part of the reason Donald Trump, the whole investigation was over him when we talk about Derek Pascal here, all I got Derek Pascal, is because these guys were involved into campaign money and pushing monies around. So when you take money from people doing campaign, it's okay for you to disclose it. It doesn't make you a bad person. Don't keep it as a hush-hush. Don't keep it as a secret. But let's move fast forward. The other part also, these monies that are being distributed, the question should be, why are you giving this money? What are you trying to influence? Who are you trying to control? What's going on? Why are you giving this money? So it's an influence or control thing or having leverage. But like you said earlier, it's also opening the floodgates for what else? Are we going to be going to you now if we need financial help? Are we going to be relying on you now? The other day, I saw a clip somewhere from the Spoon Talk where Eugene Fagon was going to say something. You know, these snippets that people can take. And Stanton said, send me your cash app. The man was short of sending your cash apps in that line. These things are embarrassing. They are demeaning. Let me tell you the truth. They are demeaning. And so it's to influence. The bottom line is to have influence. That's it. The bottom line is to have influence. So that is the role this guy is playing.
So anyway, I think we should try to wrap up now for today, because we have sufficiently dealt with the topic today. The main topic today was about Eugene Fagon and the government and the revelations made by Eugene Fagon. So let me ask you this question. I know the CDC, Eugene Fagon said CDC is begging him to go back. But at the same time, he'd be making noise, showing frustration of being dismissed. I know CDC will not take him. I'm talking about the real CDC. They will never take Eugene Fagon by giving everything that he's putting out there. Do you think any credible institution of Liberia will allow themselves to be in bed with Eugene Fagon because he runs his mouth, thinking that he will bring in anything?
I have said it over and over, Mr. Connett. Eugene Fagon cannot be trusted. He's a loose cannon. Eugene Fagon is easily bought by anybody you see like that. What want to take money from anybody? They are at their mercy.
No. I'm talking about credibility issue.
And that's what I'm getting to.
You think any, because listen, Eugene Fagon brought a lot of disgrace to the CDC government. Eugene Fagon is a tribalist. Eugene Fagon's strength is being divisive. Either speak about tribe, speak about class, either Congo or indigenous, Congo or, this or that. As a matter of fact, he's very quick to refer to people tribe when you disagree with him. I've seen that in numerous occasions. He's also fast, very fast, to play victim with people when he cannot argue against you or your argument or make a counter argument. So I'm speaking of the area of integrity, trust, and what he brings to the table. Can any credible institution openly embrace Fagon against what he has presented himself to be?
Well, you would be doing that at your own risk, at your own detriment. And all you will be doing to yourself is you would be exposing yourself or your institution to danger. That's all I can say. Eugene Fagon cannot be trusted at any level. Eugene Fagon is like probably the younger version of Samuel Jackson. Just these inconsistent people. I don't even know how to do. I don't even know what to say or how to really categorize them. Very dangerous actors. But they're here though. They're here. So I mean, that's
But do you think Eugene Fagon will eventually be campaigning with one of those or some any of the political parties in Liberia other than CDC? Because no CDC is not going to take him. Do you see Eugene Fagon somehow portraying himself or even somehow volunteering himself to speak for any opposition?
Maybe if you have 5 or 10 Eugene Fagon volunteering himself to or themselves to your party, reject them, go to the church, let them pray over you, and stay away from them.
Why?
Because again, Eugene Fagon alone is a problem all for himself and by himself. And he will be a problem. Anybody, he will be a serial liability for any political institution that welcomes him. Imagine, Mr. Kane, just imagine, Jowea fire you. Before Jowea could fire you, a corrupt institution like the legislature, said you are not government material. They a corrupt government fires you. Where you got to go again? Who got to take out of Kenya? Your leader may alone. If Eugene Fagon serial for he will go tell himself over to someone authority, provide evidence with documentation for everything he knows and all of that, and ask the Liberian people to forgive him. Okay. Why did he shut up all these times? I got no sympathy for what he's saying, all that thing that he passing around talking and seeking and making it look. No, he sat there and he went and defended, and he went and lied. He was the same people being divisive. He was the same people. He threatened Liberian people. That's Eugene Fagon. They're not lie. They're not lie. So Eugene Fagon and then people there you can what they call. Eugene Fagon wrote, this is something Eugene Fagon wrote on one of the posts. Let me read it to the Liberian people. For this thing, government, you're listening. You're bad-mouthing your president and your government. Speak evil about your country and pray that God forbid your deportation. Let's pray. So Eugene Fagon was saying, when you criticize the government, you criticize the president, the day they deport you, you will leave your own way God. Like Eugene Fagon said that. Oh, he know when he was saying that? He know. I only feel sorry, Mr. Connor. Let me tell you today. I think Sekou got frozen. I only feel sorry for the families that lost their life and their loved ones. And the people I feel sorry for. Let me be honest with you. The scene where how somebody like Keith Hassan can sit down in public and try to intellectualize the death of other people. Make it low to say people just decided they will go one day and just die. Who told you say those kind of people then that the people that when you can sit down and say your man have mercy on your man do the one? These are bad people, bad actors. Anybody who supports this government for all the wrongs that they do and they continue to do, and now you want to play the petty party to come and be acting like, oh, Eugene is a hero, and Eugene is nothing. He's not no hero. He should have spoken when you were there. Nothing. The scene we had, they always say, Joseph Boakai. None of them are victims. They are perpetrators. They are part of it. Joseph Boakai started for 12 years. All of them did the same. All of them did the same. So there is no mercy, no forgiveness, nothing.
You know what happened?
What? They kick you out?
My whole system crashed one
Yeah,
time.
no bother behind you. No bother behind you.
By the way, I even forgot to tell people though. Another hacker attacked me this few days again. I screenshot their picture, and I want to share with the public. The person been watching the show, and the person just texts me, "Hi, Sekou." I say hi. what's your number? I thought the person was trying to call me for information. So I sent the person's SKTV number, the number that you have just have on the show. I didn't send my personal number. So the person texted me back from Facebook. Please check your message inbox and send me my code that I just sent you. I'm having problem with my Facebook. And I laugh. I said, I knew it. Then the person said, "What? Knew what?" I said, "I knew that you were a hacker because you are unsophisticated hacker. I know better than you." And the person insulted my mom and blocked. But I knew exactly where it came from. Because while they were trying to chat with me, trying to do that thing, I tried to follow them, try to profile them, try to get the IP address and everything. But I will post it. I forgot that day too. I even forgot to tell you. Yeah, but they've been trying to bring down SKTV.
Like I've always said, Mr. Kane.
And remember they tried the last time on you when you sent me that information, and I told you don't worry about it. They were hackers.
Well, I will say this. I will say this to you, Mr. Kane. Tonight, I want to announce to the public tonight. I'll be on with Yasindi, and I will be talking about the way forward for the CPP, the opposition, the way forward for them. I will openly give some suggestions.
Hold on, this brother here, I don't think he's understanding stuff. Sheikh Faliku, he's saying that Fagon can't talk the way he talked while he was the government. Nobody's saying Fagon is with the government. Fagon is fighting the government because Fagon got fired. Nobody said Fagon is with the government. Fagon, everything Fagon said happened when Fagon was with the government. Fagon he believed that saying those things now can only affect the government, forgetting to know that he was part of it. And in fact, he incriminated himself that he was part of it. He knew exactly what happened to the people. That's what we are saying here. Nobody is saying Fagon is with the government. Fagon is not with the government. We know that. Fagon, then current fight, the fight that's going on right now is because McGill is no longer serving in his position. Even if McGill is still in CDC. But they're trying to bully the government, trying to attack George Weah. They're trying to attack Samuel Toure and Eugene Nangbe because they believe that nobody were the one that take McGill from his position and McGill were the one that's sending them money. He's not alone. That's the point. That's the point. But the discussion today, I think you misunderstood the whole thing. Nobody said Fagon is with the government. No, Fagon used to be with the government. Even when Fagon left, Fagon was still making the case for the government because he had to believe as long as McGill is there, it's still their government. And one day he could come back in the government. Also, as long as McGill is there, he was still receiving money from McGill. He was still getting paid every month. But because McGill is not there now, McGill cannot afford to pay all of them that money we're getting from the government to give it to them. That's why they are fighting. So nobody is saying that McGill is with the Fagon is with the government. No, that's not what we are saying. Fagon is not. Fagon trying to destroy the government now, but at the same time, has incriminated himself, and that could lead to self-destruction. I hope you get it clear. I don't want to say that, Steve. I think we can call it a day.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Kane. Thanks to our listeners and our viewers. You can choose who you want to trust. If you want to trust Eugene Fagon to bring you in your party, or because you think you need to win, bon voyage, bring you home, no problem. If you think you got to do the same thing to win, just mind you that you will owe people who you collaborate with. You owe them certain thing. Today, part of the reason Joia here it is today is because of the deals that he made before he became president. Let me say this. The rumor are passing around that Alexander Cummings and Jose Yuman Boaga are coming go on the same ticket and they win that one. Good luck to them. We are waiting for them. Let them come. People in the media, we will scrutinize them if they come. But from the credible information we got, yes, they did fly on the same plane. There is no indication that there is any conversation that they want to be president and vice president. That is the information we have gotten so far. The last thing I'd like to say, Mr. Khan, is this. This election should never be about replacing Joe Weirdo. We're not talking about viability. We're not talking about replacement. We want change. It's easy to replace anybody by anybody.
So you're not talking about availability.
Availability, I mean, that's not what we're talking about. We want change. And that's what the focus should be. People want to distract people and say, let's just replace Joe Weir because Joe Weir is bad. No. Me and I in our campaign. And I on no campaign to replace Joe Weir. I on campaign for change. And if you go scrutinize your record, there have been no change. You have no history or advocacy or any change, my friend, you will not get my support. And that's why I can say openly, Joseph Yuma Boaga has no record of advocacy. I challenge anybody, anytime. There is none. You know, the other day I listened to Vice President Joe Biden, who's president of America now. Mr. Kennedy, you should listen to this man when he was vice president. When Yepo saying vice president said that just ceremonial position, and that's not true. That is not true. When this man was in the Senate, see his record, see what he spoke on. Human rights abuse, see what he spoke on, see positions that he took. We can go back and trace it. You think anybody can be support anybody on blind level because we want to replace Joe Weir? Me, I'm not in a campaign to replace Joe Weir. In fact, Joe Weir is doing everything to not be re-elected anyways. What we need to do, we need to look for change. Those who are changed, and we'll bring them and we'll support them. Then we know we want seriousness for you. But the change I seen, the one I seen, the Costa, the Mo Ali, and the other people there, that change. Okay, waiting for the change. There's a kind of me, Ali, or you.
Yeah, we're coming go now. So yeah, so Faliku, to answer your question, yes. The answer is yes. Van Gogh and all other people that were McGill, they are fighting to destroy the government because they are angry that McGill was taken from his position. If McGill the one to working with them behind the scene.
Yep.
To make sure the government calm down. Because why? So they can say McGill, because the way they remove McGill, that's why the government came down.
Yeah, without him, the government can.
Yeah, and the government can survive. So they're trying to do everything to destroy it.
Yeah, he wants to be seen as indispensable.
That includes individuals and institutions that pay loyalty to McGill.
Yes.
So yeah, to answer your question is yes. So yeah, so somebody say we didn't talk about the 75,000, the alleged 75,000 that was given. As we said, the challenge is now with SKTV. The challenge is with those who say money was given, and I still maintain I don't think any money was given to anybody officially. If there was any money given to anybody officially, people should be able to come and say it publicly. 75,000 was not given. If at all was given, trust me, we'll see proof. But until then, we maintain that we don't believe that money was given to anybody. I don't believe in all those speculations until I see facts. But again, it was nice having all of you here. We'll see you on Thursday moving forward. And also we'll see you on Saturday, Sunday, and Mondays. All right. You have a very, very wonderful evening. If you're in the night, have a good night.
Hey.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh. It was gonna be. Oh.
D12 on the beat.
If nobody talks about you, you are nobody. Nobody. If nobody chewing your bone, you are nobody. Nobody. They will know everything about you more than you know yourself. Yeah. They will talk, they will talk, they will talk, just to bring you down. Yeah. They will spread all your bad news more than they spread your good news. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. Oh, see, let them do the talking again. See, I will do the bluffing, yeah, yeah. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it. If nobody talks about you, you are nobody. Nobody. If nobody chewing your bone, you are nobody. Nobody. If you like it, you can add your own there, just to make it juicy. Juicy. If you like, you can pour your own there, just to make it spicy. Spicy. I know you like the cheese and you like the fries too. The fries too. Sugar in the tea, cocoa in the coffee, anything you want to say. If they can talk about Jesus Christ, they can talk about Moses, they can talk about